Can Texas turn blue in 2024? A lot of people are now asking this question now that a lot of states are in play that were previously never even thought to be possible with the momentum of the Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz's campaign. The data we are seeing, the enthusiasm we are seeing is absolutely through the roof. My name is Brett Meiselas here with the MeidasTouch Network. Remember to subscribe. We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers, but we really can't do it without you. So hit subscribe. If you're already subscribed, hit the notification bell so that you get alerted every time we post a new video. Okay, I want to dig into these state polls. These are the Senate polls by Morning Consult. And I want you to notice a whole lot of blue on this list. We see Ruben Gallego up 14. We see in Arizona. We see also Brooks in Maryland up 11. Slotkin up 14 in Michigan. In Nevada, Rosen up 13. In Ohio, Brown up 2. In Pennsylvania, Casey up 9. In Texas, Allred up 1. I'll get back to that in just a second. In Wisconsin, Baldwin up 7. In fact, in this entire poll, the only Republican who is leading is Rick Scott in Florida by 4. And we've seen other polls that show that race even much closer. But like I said, let's focus on this video in Texas, because what's happening on the ground in Texas right now is absolutely electric and has never been seen before, at least in the past couple of decades. I mean, what is going on there is absolutely phenomenal. We see the Texas Senate general election poll, Colin, Allred, the Democrat, up 1 over Ted Cruz, 45% to 44%. Are Texans finally ready to show Ted Cruz the door? Are they sick and tired of these dangerous Republican policies that are quite frankly torturing their citizens every single day? We will find out, but I want to bring you some more data, okay? Here are some other general election polls in these swing states from Morning Consult. This is the new Morning Consult Bloomberg poll that came out just yesterday. In Arizona, Vice President Harris is up 3. They have Georgia as a tie. Fox actually had Kamala Harris up by a couple in Georgia. In North Carolina, they have Harris up 2. In Nevada, Harris plus 7. In Michigan, Harris plus 3. In Pennsylvania, Harris plus 5. In Wisconsin, Harris plus 3. Never let these polls let you get complacent, but I think it shows you a picture right now of where the trends are heading, but you need to vote. So remember to check your voter registration at vote.org and make sure that you and your family all do the same. It's so important that people show up and participate in our democracy. Let me show you the latest Florida poll as well. We did a video on this just the other day. Kamala Harris only down 1 in the Bullfinch poll to Donald Trump. She's down 47 to 48% in Florida. Things are happening on the ground, people. There is an energy like we have not seen in a very, very long time. And guess what? The Kamala Harris campaign, they sense it too. Doug Emhoff actually spent some days this week in Texas, and he released this video with Beto O'Rourke of him at a Whataburger. Check this out.
What I really do is watch this. I do a mix of 2/3 Diet Coke and 1/3 regular Coke. And it's just delicious. I've been looking forward to this all day. You know Beto?
Hi, Beto O'Rourke. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Good to meet you. How's it going?
They've got the Dr. Pepper shake. So Dr. Pepper's very Texas.
I'll do the number 2 combo. Okay. I definitely want some of that spicy ketchup. No pickles. But everything else.
Want to try our onion rings, or are you okay with the fries?
Like both?
I hope you're hungry.
We are hungry. Thank you. You can feel the energy. You can feel the enthusiasm. I'm feeling it here in Texas. We're all hustling. I want to thank our friend Beto. Talking about also voter registration, no matter what obstacles are being thrown in front of you, like they're trying to do, don't let them do it. Get out and register. Exercise your right to vote. This is the essence of our country. It's the essence of our democracy.
I told the second gentleman, we've been on college campuses, and they're calling it the Kamala effect. Young people are getting registered to vote in record numbers.
Let's move our country forward. Let's elect my wife president. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you won't go thirsty.
This is my weird thing that Kamala actually hates. I put the straw on my ear, and here I go. Thank you.
And speaking of Beto O'Rourke, I want to give you some context that's provided by Beto O'Rourke here, because it shows you the trend line. It shows you the trajectory over the past few presidential cycles. As Beto O'Rourke says, Harris-Walz are not only winning the race for the White House, they're putting states in play that were once written off. In 2012, Obama lost Texas by 16. In 2016, Clinton lost Texas by 9. In 2020, Biden lost Texas by 5.5. Beto says we will win Texas before long, much sooner thanks to them. You could see these margins continuing to narrow in Texas as people there are fed up with this failure of the Republican leadership. Second gentleman Doug Emhoff raised more than $1 million at a San Antonio fundraiser this week for Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. It was the largest presidential fundraiser in the city's history. I think people are just so fed up with the Trump show. I think they're just over it and they are absolutely exhausted. And you can look at some of these photos that Doug Emhoff posted of his time while he was in Texas, and you could see that Texas right there is turning out for Kamala Harris. I'm telling you, Doug Emhoff would not be putting in the work. They would not be sending surrogates to Texas if they did not think they had a shot at this thing. And it is so heartwarming to see these crowds there that are standing up for our democracy. Now, also what's going on in Texas, I love this photo. This is a photo of Doug Emhoff, Willie Nelson, and Beto O'Rourke, Texas legends right here. Love to see it. This is part of his trip. And Colin Allred, meanwhile, is getting a big bump and a whole lot of momentum. Senate Democrats launched their first multi-million-dollar TV investments in Texas and Florida as the map grows more daunting. Now, once again, like the famous phrase that I think you need to pay attention to is follow the money. You got to follow where people are spending in these campaigns, where they're pulling back funds. The fact that Senate Democrats are putting their money into Texas and Florida, I think speaks more volumes than any political pundit or any sort of campaign manager or anybody could try to spin. The money does not lie. And this is all probably because like the momentum we're seeing is because these policies that have been implemented by the Republicans in Texas have been absolutely devastating. Like, do you remember when Amanda Zawarski shared her story about nearly dying due to Texas's abortion bans? Watch this.
I'm here tonight because the fight for reproductive rights isn't just a woman's fight. This is about fighting. This is about fighting for our families. And as Kamala Harris says, our future.
And I love what her husband Josh said right there. Like, this is not just a woman's fight. This is about all of us. This is about all of us. Here's Texas Paul, MeidasTouch contributor. Texas Paul here speaking about Ted Cruz, who he calls Turd Cruz, being MIA, and Colin Allred putting in the work. Check this out.
Morning. Time for morning coffee with Texas Paul. Hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. Turd Cruz is not Texas. He wasn't born here. And he don't act it. He's not Texas. You know, shit hit the fan here, he ran. That's not Texas. That is not Texas. Colin Allred was born and raised here. Donald Trump insulted Turd Cruz's wife right there on stage with him. And Turd Cruz sucks his butt every chance he gets. That's not Texas. That is not Texas. No, I'm sorry. I was born and raised here. That is not Texas. If Donald Trump insulted Colin Allred's wife, Colin Allred would kick Donald Trump's ass in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and Colin Allred wouldn't lose a single voter for doing it. That's Texas.
Here's a video from Republican voters against Trump who do absolutely phenomenal work. This video is a person named Brett, just like me. This is a veteran and a two-time Trump voter from Texas. Hear what he has to say.
I don't care who's opposing Trump. I will vote for democracy. In this case, it happens to be Kamala Harris. I will vote for Kamala Harris to preserve our democracy. Hi, I'm Brett, and I'm from Florida. I served in the United States Air Force. I'm a two-time Trump voter. I've been a lifelong Republican up until recently. I left the Republican Party and am now independent because of where the Republican Party is now. It's really the party of Trump. I supported Trump all the way up until he tried to overturn the election in 2020. And I heard that with my own ears. So that's not something that someone just told me and I believed it. I saw it for myself, heard it from myself. And so I will not vote for that man. I don't want him anywhere near the White House. I do not want to vote for a dictator. I want the democracy to stay the way it is. This election is about, do I want a democracy or do I want a dictator? I want a democracy. I don't care who's opposing Trump. I will vote for democracy. In this case, it happens to be Kamala Harris. I will vote for Kamala Harris to preserve our democracy.
And here's a TikTok that's currently going viral about the state of Texas and the Democrats. I mean, You watch this and tell me Texas isn't in play. Something magical is happening, folks, in the Lone Star State. Watch.
Something is brewing in Texas when Colin Allred is polling ahead of Ted Cruz and Desiree Venable can post a plea asking for $14,000 in donations and find that folks raised $2,000 in just the first 6 hours of her ask. And folks, Desiree Venable is poised to flip this Texas State House seat. We need to break the GOP supermajority in the state of Texas. The main issue that Desiree is running on and finding huge success with is the school voucher system, where frankly public tax dollars are being siphoned and redirected towards private, often religious institutions. And bottom line, public funds need to be going to public schools. And shout out Rose Lounsbury for making this point very clear when we talked about the Republican supermajority in Ohio as well. Folks, Desiree laid out in her video such a clean list of exactly what she needs the dollars for and what she needs for her campaign to succeed. And primarily, it just means reaching more local voters in the Austin area of Texas, a little bit southeast of Austin. And folks, when she reaches people, Republicans, independents, Democrats, they're turning out, they're determined to vote for her because she is actually helping people out. She's not siphoning money away from public schools. She is investing in the people and doing the work of the people. So let's please go show her our strongest support. And let's remember to continue our critical community mission to leave no dem behind.
And here's a brilliant new ad from Colin Allred running for the U.S. Senate in Texas. Check it out.
Before every game at Baylor, I wrote myself a message. Teamwork, accountable, sacrifice, words that guide me in public service too. I've worked with Republicans and law enforcement on a tough border bill. That's teamwork. And we'll hold Ted Cruz accountable because he's been in Washington forever. He's done nothing to secure the border. Sacrifice, because when your neighbors need you during the freeze, you don't fly to Cancun. I'm Colin Allred. I approve these values and this message.
And as my brother Ben shared yesterday from the hospital, he's there. He just welcomed the birth of his baby girl. Congratulations, Ben. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing so much of me. But Ben was sharing a bit about Colin Allred's story, which is such an inspirational story. And I feel like not enough people know about this. Listen to this. Colin Allred has one of the most incredible stories, Ben said. High school class president, football star at Baylor, 5 seasons in the NFL, quit the NFL to go to law school at Berkeley, becomes a civil rights lawyer, worked in the Obama administration, became a congressman from Texas's 32nd congressional district. And as Luz Cruz, the anti-Ted Cruz PAC wrote, "Hey Texas, choose your fighter," and they had a photo of Colin Allred in his NFL uniform and Ted Cruz fleeing the state to go to Cancun, definitely not serving his constituents in Texas. And I want to remind you also of this absolutely tragic story. This is a Texas woman who went into septic shock after being denied an abortion because of Donald Trump. Listen to what she has to say.
Donald Trump and his allies continuously brag about killing Roe v. Wade. And it is unthinkable to me that anyone could cheer on the cruel abortion bans that nearly took my life. But they do. Tonight, we're going to hear from Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, a man with a record just as extreme and an agenda just as threatening as Donald Trump. Don't just take my word for it. He has an A+ rating from the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Choice America list and supports a nationwide abortion ban. He wanted to make it harder for Ohio voters to engage in a democratic process and vote to protect their fundamental right to reproductive health care. And his anti-choice agenda is so extreme that he doesn't even think there should be exceptions for rape or incest survivors. Actually saying 2 wrongs don't make a right. He calls these devastating circumstances inconvenient. My husband Josh and I are now desperately trying to start a family through IVF, but J.D. Vance voted against legislation to protect IVF. It's appalling. Tragically, my story is not unique. I am one of many women in our country whose life has been put at risk because of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance's anti-reproductive freedom agenda. I know this because I've met them. From Texas to Arizona, Idaho to Georgia, women like me have been told that we're not sick enough to receive care that we desperately need. We've been turned away from hospitals. We've been found collapsed on bathroom floors. We have been told to flee our state borders in the hope of receiving basic reproductive care. We have been robbed of our freedom. I'm just one of those women.
Listening to these videos is absolutely devastating to me. It's just so incredibly heartbreaking. But my message to the Texans who are watching this is that you don't have to live this way. I'm telling you, you don't have to live this way. You don't have to live under this cruel Handmaid's Tale style rule of this Republican Party. And you know that Donald Trump right now is absolutely stunned when he is seeing these polls. You know that Ted Cruz right now is absolutely petrified of Colin Allred, seeing that Colin Allred has pulled ahead of him in morning consult. So, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm saying now is the time to step on the gas. Also, I want to hear from you. If you are in Texas or know people in Texas, I want to hear what you are seeing on the ground. So let me know in the comments. I want to hear about any sort of yard signs or events, people organizing, all of that. I want to hear about it and know that we can do this, folks. You could do this. I'm telling you, you could do this. All right. Here's what else I need you to do. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on our way to 3.5 million subscribers. And if you're already subscribed, hit the notification bell. That way you get alerted every time we post a new video. I'm going to be here doing more and more reports throughout the day, and I know you're not going to want to miss them. Until then, I'll see you in a bit.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram @MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.